Wow, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Quite a crew. Thank you all for being here. David, thank you for that introduction. Thank you to the staff here at the GOAT and for all of the behind-the-scenes players on the Creative Morning team. We're glad to be here with you this morning. Wow, we have quite a story for you. Our story about commitment is kind of our lifelong journey together. And you'll see by this very first slide that I'm not kidding. Dennis and I have known each other since we were 5 years old. This is our kindergarten picture, straight out of 1974. And I guess destiny had a way of kind of pre-planning our future for us back then, and we didn't even know it. So Dennis and I both grew up in a very small town in northwest Ohio called Kalida. And Kalida is your typical small town, and if you quintessential middle America town, and if you think about it going back to 1974, you can imagine a town with no traffic lights, one gas station, one little grocery store called the IGA, but we had, for some reason, we had 4 bars going on. So we knew where the good town was. So fast forward to today and going back to Kalida, it pretty much still looks the same. There's one traffic light now, which actually came into play the year Dennis and I graduated from high school. There's still one gas station, still one grocery store, and I think they added another bar because we now have 1,300 people in population compared to 1,000 when we grew up. So it was just a great place to grow up. It was a town that definitely instilled strong roots, strong values, incredible work ethics, and just a foundation to really know that you were growing up somewhere special. And I think that commitment back then in Kalida has kind of helped Dennis and I segue into our lives today, and is with us every single day. So that's where we got our start.
Great, thank you. I'm going to talk about the commitment to our entrepreneurial journey, and now you guys can all drink, because every time you hear commitment, you got to drink. It started in 1992, really. I had just graduated from the University of Cincinnati in architecture, and 92 was not a great time to be in the architecture business. It had a pretty significant recession. I had sent out 100 resumes in Ohio, outside of Ohio, for a job. I got 2 interviews, one in Dayton and one in Columbus, and fortunately the one in Columbus extended an offer and I took it. And I was thinking in my head that I was going to be the next Frank Lloyd Wright. In actuality, I was just drafting toilet partitions, and so that took a long time and grinding, working $250 million projects back to back. And I just went to Denise. I said, I need to do something a little more creative than just sitting in front of a computer drafting. And so in '95, we decided to open a store. And it was a very small store in Grandview. It's 1,200 square foot. It was pretty much a shoestring budget. I still kept the architectural gig for 3 years. I worked during the day. Denise worked at the store during the day. And then we trade off at nights and every weekend. And we did this for 3 years with no vacation and no free weekends. And it was a grind. The only customers, quite frankly, some days was Calvin the mailman was the only person that came in the store. So it was pretty rough. And then for early 2000s, it was still kind of chugging along and not really making money. And we decided to get into, at that time, it was kind of different, and that was vintage industrial. And we would go into factories and General Motors plants and pull furniture out, clean it up, repurpose it, and we really didn't know we were on the forefront of that wave. I just liked it, and the one thing that it came to be that was a little shocking to us was the commercial clients started to come to us. It'd be the Abercrombies for certain pieces, the limited brands would come to us. We were doing some things for the first Pink stores, and I know most of you are not alive to remember this, but there was a company called LimeWire, which was like the Napster equivalent, did a large office in New York, and we did a lot of the furniture for that. And West Coast was blowing up at this, and so we kind of just gravitated on this wave. It still had the retail store, and then the companies, Abercrombie and L Brands, would come to us and said, right before this, let me back up. This is right in 2008. We're one of the few companies probably that did okay or better than okay in 2008. And the reason was the larger companies couldn't afford to do business in low-cost countries. They couldn't afford to send partial shipments for containers, and they would ask us, say, all right, would you be willing to make 30 or 50 of something? And Denise and I are looking like, 30 or 50? That's amazing. I said, how many, from a retail perspective, mom and pop retail, how much effort would it take to sell 30 or 50 to something to a group of families or a group of individuals? It's an immense amount of work. So it didn't take us long to say we really should be concentrating in the commercial sector and getting out of the retail game. And so in 2011, we were kind of in, from 2004 to 2011, we were in a terrible lease. Terrible from our perspective, great from the landlord perspective. And in 2011, we closed down the retail store in the spring. My father passed away in the spring, who was kind of instrumental and a mentor to us. And we got an order for 6,000 cherry tables from Abercrombie. It was huge. It was it affected every Abercrombie in the U.S. and Canada, Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii. And it was really amazing. We had to do it in 3 months. We got the order in May. We had to finish August 31st, and we had to ship out the first week, 50 semis, the first week of September, and to coincide with back to school. So, incredible amount of effort, heavy lift. We were able to pull it off. I'm not sure how. And
Commitment.
yeah, commitment. And then at the end of 2011, we said, wow, this is great. But there's nobody going to order 6,000 of anything. That was it was a great year. But we just started gaining a little bit more momentum. So it really took us 16 years of incredible hard work, losing money. When we closed down the retail store, we had quite a bit of debt, had to work through. So we've been able to kind of work through that and grow the business and acquire clients just kind of organically. We've been really blessed. And so now we're in Killbuck, Ohio. We only service commercial clients on a pretty significant scale. And we're committed to design-centric manufacturing. One of our taglines is restoring middle American grit and ingenuity. To me, Restore is bringing manufacturing back to America. The grit is perseverance, hard work, kind of those values type thing, and ingenuity is just innovation. I don't think we're going to go back to the roaring 50s of an American industrial complex. Maybe we will, but I doubt it. So we have to look at new ways of innovating and doing things, quite frankly, to pull a lot of labor out of our product just because we can compete with low-cost countries in the global marketplace. And so we're not only committed to design-centric manufacturing, we also are committed to our people. So we want to talk about that.
So our people, we realize that we cannot be successful as a business and entrepreneurs without our people. They're passionate, they're purposeful, and we are committed to making sure that every team member that we have working with us from our very beginning, that we are focused on their growth, both personally and professionally. We do a lot of personal assessments with growing, and knowing that they're committed, it makes us, the commitment to what we do, that much easier. Dennis alluded to some of our struggles back then, and really for he and I think one of the ways that we've been able to be in business together for 23 years and to be married for almost 30 years this November is to stay committed to when things are going bad for my day, Dennis picks me up, or when Dennis is having a bad day, I pick him up. And there were moments in our lives with the business where we felt like we should just close our doors. We can't do this anymore. But we stayed committed to not only the cause for what we were doing, but the cause for each other of staying committed to that. So it's been brought us to, making sure that we're staying committed to ourselves, but also staying committed to the people that work for us in a big way. We are also in the Killbuck area, completely committed in a really strong way to stay passionate and focused on giving back to the community of Killbuck. It's in Northeast Ohio. It's a little bit of a depressed area, and we are focused on giving back hope, passion, bringing some jobs back into the community, and really giving everybody in that area just a sense of belonging and revitalization to that area. And it's been really great to see when team members kind of are introduced to community members that they can interact together, and every time that anybody comes into our offices in Killbuck from the community, they just congratulate us and thank us for bringing, I guess more than anything, energy back to that area. So we're really blessed to be part of that area, and we are definitely committed in a big way. Giving back to them, we are doing some really fun things right now as a team. We are doing an Adopt a Highway program in Killbuck. We're giving back to the Rails for Trails to create some connectors there. We have a lot of great people that love to go out and hike and bike and stay active, so we're contributing in a big way to that area as well. And not only that, but knowing that Dennis is going to share a little bit about our long-term vision and our goals and our commitment to growth, not only for our business, but for the community and our team members, but also to the growth of the community in a way that they can come into our campus and learn and experience what we have going on for themselves. We're planning to introduce some great learning environments, some cooking classes, some gardening classes, some hand-on experiences, and eventually some apprenticeships and even some housing on our property. So we're excited about that.
So what I'm about to show you has never been public before. It's always been private. We've been working on this for, oh boy, I've been working on this since 2012, but it's actually just came to fruition in the past year. So this is what we're trying to build in Killbuck. A design-centric manufacturing small city. Killbuck's to the right. Fortunately, in April of last year, we were able to acquire 80 acres and a 50,000 square foot building that's on the middle of this site. That includes, we have a 50,000 square foot facility a mile and a half south. So we'll be taking all operations into this. And it doesn't look like this today, but it was a former factory that made shoe soles. And of course, that business, crepe shoe soles, is really not a growing business in America. So we're committed to developing the site. Like I said, there's 80 acres. It's a beautiful piece of property. It's going to include a retro gas station that we can fill up our own trucks there at the entrance. It'll include a boutique hotel. It'll include greenhouses, fruit trees, probably honeybees on site. Bringing back bison to this area, which are native to Ohio. So we're really trying to make this zero waste, just elevated experience for our clients and for other people, and we're incredibly excited about it. Who knows, we may put a brewery or distillery on site. There's a natural springs on site, so incredibly blessed to have this piece of property in our lives and start to develop it. And it's really, really exciting from where we came from, which was, it's been a tough journey, and it's always really exciting. And I have some final thoughts too, and I would love Q&A after it, but no matter how much commitment you have, no matter how much purpose, no matter how much values or like core values and things that you bring to the table, it doesn't always work out. I know that at least the minimum amount for us, it's like 1 in 10,000 chance of our company going from mom and pop to something that's significant size. Like it may be 1 in 100,000. I mean, it's a big number. And so my shout out is to the people in this country that tried things and failed, because not all cultures are like that in the world. What makes this country great is that you can fail and it doesn't really affect you, doesn't affect your relationships with your parents or your family normally. And I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. I think, my own thoughts, that we should have an entrepreneur day, like almost entrepreneur day, like I almost made it type thing, but didn't quite do it, right? And we can, we can and love on them and say, hey, thanks. Why is this space in great restaurants in this city? It's because there's a lot of restaurants that fail. So I just want thank you guys for coming. I'd love to get Q&A from you guys.